Remember when your parents told you that buying a house was the key to building wealth? Well, I'm about to show you why that advice might actually be destroying your financial future. In the last 3 years alone, the average American homeowner has spent over $18,000 annually just on hidden costs that most people never even calculate. And here's the kicker, that's money you'll never see again. By the end of this video, you're going to understand why some of the wealthiest people you know choose to rent, why the math behind homeownership has completely changed, and most importantly, what you should be doing with your money instead. Let's break down the homeownership myth that's been sold to an entire generation. For decades, we've been told the same story. Rent is throwing money away, homeownership builds equity, and your house is your greatest investment. This wasn't just advice, it was treated as an unquestionable truth, almost like a religion. And look, I get it. There's something emotional about owning your own place. No landlord to answer to, paint the walls whatever color you want, build something that's truly yours. But here's what nobody talks about. Emotions and finances don't always align. The problem is that the world that made homeownership a smart goal doesn't exist anymore. The economic fundamentals have shifted so dramatically in the past decade that we need to completely rethink this assumption. Let's start with what's changed. The median home price in the US has skyrocketed to over $420,000. Meanwhile, with interest rates that have more than doubled since 2021, your monthly mortgage payment on that median home sits around $2,800 to $3,000. But here's where it gets interesting. That mortgage payment, that's just the beginning. Most people calculate whether they can afford a house by looking at the monthly mortgage payment and comparing it to rent. That's financial suicide, because what they're not factoring in is what I call the invisible drain. All the additional costs that come with homeownership. Property taxes. In states like New Jersey or Illinois, you're looking at $10,000 to $15,000 per year. That's over $1,200 per month that renters never pay. Home insurance? With climate change increasing natural disasters, premiums have jumped 30% to 40% in many markets over the past 5 years. You're looking at another $200 to $400 monthly. Maintenance and repairs? The general rule is 1% to 2% of your home's value annually. On a $420,000 house, that's $4,200 to $8,400 per year. And that's just for regular upkeep, not the new roof you'll need in year 12 or the HVAC system that dies at the worst possible moment. Add in HOA fees in many neighborhoods, and suddenly your $2,800 mortgage becomes a $4,500 to $5,000 monthly commitment. And remember, that's money you're spending just to maintain your investment, not grow it. But here's the part that really keeps me up at night, and it's something almost nobody talks about. Opportunity cost. When you buy a house, you're not just committing to a monthly payment. You're tying up a massive amount of capital in your down payment and ongoing costs. On that $420,000 house, a 20% down payment is $84,000. Now, let me show you something wild. If you took that same $84,000 and invested it in a diversified index fund portfolio averaging 10% annual returns, which is conservative based on historical S&P 500 performance, and you continued investing the difference between your total housing costs and comparable rent, here's what happens. Over 30 years, you could be looking at well over $2 million in liquid, accessible wealth. Your house? It might have appreciated, sure. But after you account for all the money you poured into it, the closing costs when you sell, and real estate commissions, your actual return is often far less impressive than it appears. And here's the critical difference. That investment portfolio is liquid. You can access it. You can move it. Your house? To access that equity, you either have to sell and move or take on more debt through a home equity loan. We live in an economy that's fundamentally different from our parents' generation. The average person now changes jobs every 4.5 years. Remote work has exploded. Entire industries are being disrupted. When you own a home, you're geographically anchored. You can't easily take that dream job across the country. You can't relocate when your industry shifts to a different city. You're locked in. And if you need to sell, you're looking at 6% in real estate commissions, closing costs, and the stress of hoping the market hasn't turned against you. If you've only owned the home for a few years, you might actually lose money once all costs are accounted for. Renters, on the other hand, have unprecedented flexibility. They can move for opportunities, downsize during economic uncertainty, or relocate to lower cost of living areas while maintaining their income through remote work. Now, I'm not saying homeownership is bad for everyone. If you're planning to stay in one place for 10+ years, if you have stable income, if you're in a market with reasonable prices and strong appreciation potential, if you've maxed out your retirement accounts, and if you genuinely want the lifestyle homeownership provides, then sure, it might make sense. But for the majority of younger Americans, for people in high cost of living cities, for anyone who values flexibility or who's still building their career, the traditional path of rushing to buy a house might be the worst financial decision they can make. So what should you do instead? Focus on building liquid wealth. Max out your 401k, fund your Roth IRA, build a taxable investment account. Create wealth you can access that compounds efficiently and that gives you options. Rent strategically in areas that give you career and lifestyle opportunities. Use the flexibility to optimize your situation as the world changes. And when you're financially secure, when you have a solid investment foundation, and when homeownership truly aligns with your long-term goals, then consider it. Because here's the truth. A house is not an investment. It's a lifestyle choice with financial implications. And in 2026, for most people, it's a lifestyle choice that comes with a hefty price tag. The American dream isn't dead, it just needs updating. Sometimes the smartest financial move is the one that goes against everything you've been taught. If this video changed how you think about homeownership, hit that like button and subscribe for more financial reality checks. And drop a comment. Are you team buy or team rent? Let's debate.